Ava came into our life in 2008. Everything changed. We did a lot of little simple things, and to this day, those are my favorite.
It's like the beauty in the everyday things like gets so much bigger, so much brighter.
Regardless of what I was doing or where I was, I would drop everything and go there. And that night I said no more.
Heather Wood, entrepreneur, light mom, financial genius. Okay, maybe that was a little too far.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. I'll take it.
Keep going. Friend, community member. Welcome to the Truthfully Tracy podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I am so blessed to have you here, and I cannot make the promise that my own emotion will not come up today, because I thoroughly love our conversations, and I am so grateful when you allow me to see bits and parts of you that don't necessarily come out all the time. And so thank you for trusting me and this space to come tell some of your story and some of your truth.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So let's start off by talking about before 2023. Who was Heather Wood? What did she look like?
Oh, wow. I think there were a couple of versions of me. One always at my core, but I think there was Heather before I got married, and then Heather after I got married. And while they were one and the same person, I think a little bit over time, life got heavier and more complicated. One, I was an adult starting a career, and then I became a wife and a mother. And those things in and of themselves make life a little more complicated and a little trickier to balance. And you have more responsibilities, and you're responsible for other people other than yourself at that point. But I've always had a drive for more, whatever that meant. I was an athlete as a child, and I liked to excel and do the best I could. And could I push myself further? Could I achieve more things? And that has always been a part of who I am. And I brought that into adulthood and into my relationship and my marriage and being a parent. And in some ways it has served me well. Sometimes it didn't always make marriage and relationships easy, right? Having a type A and a type B sometimes.
Were you attracted to a type B?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I didn't ever have like, this is my type of person. But when I met my husband at the time, I instantly knew that was my person. Even though there were red flags. And I say that with love. I saw something in him instantly, but I also saw his broken parts.
Yeah.
But it didn't deter me. So it made life interesting and challenging. But
you have such a beautiful way of describing your relationship with him, and it was not my plan to sort of dive into this first, but I think like you're able to hold both, right? You're able to hold grief and sadness and anger and whatever emotions, and this love for him and this understanding. And like you just said, you saw this soul that had probably been hurt along the way, had probably his own traumas, and was fighting his own demons like we all are, right? And you chose to continue to see the good in him. And so tell me about, like, how old were you guys when you initially met?
I believe I was, let me think about this for a minute. I was about 24, we'll say, without taking
early
into
20s.
About early 20s. He was about 7.5 years older than me, so he was about 31, turning 32.
So more established,
a little more
like,
established,
yep.
We both really loved music and connected deeply over music and lyrics and songs and experiences at concerts. And that was one of our really early bonding moments. And it was almost like another language, right? I think music for some people and lyrics and music is a language that really resonates with some people. And I think we both really, when we couldn't communicate well, even in a peaceful, loving situation, when we couldn't communicate well, or maybe that was a weak spot for us somewhere along the way, music always was that like way in which we talked to each other.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the initial, the spark,
I think so.
Attraction.
I don't even remember how we got talking about it, but we figured that out really quick.
So you said you knew pretty quickly, like he was
yeah.
your person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I didn't know if we would get married. He was married before, and I knew that. And for a long time, he didn't want to get married again. So it was never an issue for me. I knew he was my person, whatever that meant and whatever road that took us down.
So the first part of your relationship,
what
did that look like?
I think it was like fun, easy-ish. The more things you throw into it, like kids, ambition, your demons start to show over time, right? Probably a little bit for both of us, has a little bit more. And those are hard to wrestle with.
Yeah, they are.
Like the little cracks here or there. Everyone has cracks, personally and together as a couple. And, with time going by, more cracks, or the cracks became bigger. Right? Some of those things started to shine through. And I don't think he saw it for a really long time because he was acutely aware of his demons. And he worked really, really hard to be a good person. And I don't think he understood that he couldn't do it on his own. And he tried really hard for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's a big...
Because he did a good job, but it wasn't enough. And he didn't understand that.
And when you don't know how to do it any different, right? You keep doing it in the way you know best of.
Yeah.
And it's signs of trauma. It's learned responses.
Right.
So when did beautiful Ava enter the picture?
Ava came into our life in 2008.
Okay.
And everything changed. Everything changed, I think, in the world, and I didn't even know it. And it was incredible. She was just a different kind of being that I had never experienced before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you want to be a mom?
I knew I wanted to be a mom.
Okay.
I knew I did not want a million kids. One or two. We settled on one. And it was great. She was born this human that was just a lover and a connector. People were just drawn to her. It was very bizarre, very cool, right? That people love your child so much. But strangers, or people who were maybe acquaintances that we were not necessarily friends, became like family instantly. Like she would just adopt people into her life. As an infant that couldn't speak, there was just this magnetic presence about her that I still have trouble putting words to. But it was a really remarkable thing to watch that happen with nearly everyone she came into contact with.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did she change you?
I think I saw the possibilities in life that I always worked hard to want to do more and be more in whatever circumstance it was. And I don't know if I fully understood what I was striving for until she was born. And then I'm like, oh, like I can do more with my career. I can be healthier. I can be more fit. I can be calmer. I can be kinder. These are all of the things that I wanted
her.
For her,
Yeah.
and not for her to be. I was always very, very clear from the earliest days that she could understand that I would make recommendations and, you know, tell her what to do as a parent. But I'm like, wait a minute. You might not like this, but tell me what you like or what you don't like. But I want you to see and try a lot of things so that you can decide who you want to be. And in parenting her, it was almost like I was parenting myself. Like, I haven't done this in a while.
Just gave me goosebumps. Yeah.
I should see art and more music and try different sports and do different things. Why am I not doing that for myself? And I was very cognizant of that, like really acutely aware. And I tried to be that person more. And it was hard, right? As a parent and marriage and work, right? I needed to show her it was okay to want to do these things and to be who you are and to try different things. And it's okay to fail. But I had to do that too, because how can I teach her and be a hypocrite
and not be modeling?
I'm sure I failed many times, but that light bulb moment, I think after she was born, pretty quickly, like, this is all the things I want for her and all the things I want her to be and to have confidence in trying and understand there's heartbreak and failure and sadness, but then you get back up and you move on. And I needed to live that life too. Somewhere it got lost, it stopped. And that kind of lit that spark.
Well, we get lost in the grind.
Yeah.
Of what we think is important, what we think we want in life. And then, like, we realize that's not really what it's about at all. No. And so she just opened your eyes to it sounds, before.
Yeah. You get stuck in the grind. Okay, well, we're stuck in the grind because this is just how life is. But in the grind, like, what do we like to do? What can we do, right? And we did a lot of little simple things, and to this day, those are my favorite.
Give us one of those. Give us one of those.
On a busy weekend, if we had downtime, especially when it's such New York, we don't get a lot of sunny days. We would go out, and we live in the village of Baldwinsville, and we would go out and we would just walk around. Maybe we would stop at Dunkin' because it was the only coffee shop at the time and grab something to drink. We would just walk around. We would walk down the river. We would take pictures because, right, teenagers at that point. But we would just go for walks and take pictures and notice things and laugh. And it's just a walk.
So simple.
So simple. It's some of my favorite memories. And, you know, we have a million pictures from those walks.
During this whole time period, as she's getting older, how was your relationship with your husband evolving, changing? Like,
the more time went by, the more challenging things were. Right? Life, money, busyness. I really wanted to have a career. So my career probably really started to solidify and take off a little bit right around when Ava was born. And in my mind, I thought of the things that might be expected of me or things that I should do to better position myself to be successful, build a network, get involved in different things. And that didn't necessarily sit well. But it was kind of from that point on where, like, the real beginning of, like, a career began, right? And there were things and responsibilities, and I loved it. I've always had a drive to do more, do better, try to be the best. And just, you know, one example is, like, that took me away from him, and that took me away from our family. And it wasn't as much as you would think, but it was enough to create some friction. And finding the sweet spot for us became difficult and harder. And someone had to give something up, or someone had to give, because we weren't finding the right spot. And it was usually me. But as things got more challenging, I knew I could remain calm and stable. And maybe he couldn't.
So you became that grounding force.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure over time he relied on a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that creates a job for you.
It creates a job for me. It creates friction, right? I had this drive to succeed and he didn't. And why is this more important than this? I'm like, trying to have that conversation. And I think our communication and understanding of one another and supporting each other's happiness and supporting each other's position became harder. Right? We talked about Ava and me wanting her to live this life. And that friction point came as she got older. And now are we emulating the right kind of relationship for her? Is it obvious that some of my hopes and dreams and things are now being put on the back burner? And do I want that for her? And it was a real tug of war in my own head and heart. If I was doing the right thing for my marriage, was I doing the right thing for my daughter? Was I doing the right thing for me?
Right. So what decision did you make ultimately?
Ultimately, how could I do my job and do my job well? And a lot of it was work. It wasn't all work, but how could I love the things I loved and spend the time that I wanted to doing them, or try to achieve and do more and let it be enough to satisfy me, but also be little enough that it wasn't a threat in our home.
It's like walking a tightrope. It's like, how do I continue to fill this cup, but not too much of that? It's this constant overthinking process of keeping all of the balls in the air at one time, right? I can relate. And then it's also this thought of, this is what my daughter is witnessing as love, as like, oh, the woman I want her to bloom into and become, and I'm modeling that. Like, what is she going to take from this?
Like, how do I be the wife I need to be to support this person that I know is really struggling, and be the model that I want for my daughter? And how do you pick your husband or your kid?
Yeah.
He was a great dad. So I also want to be clear, like, in saying that, he was always a great dad, but their needs were different.
And you have this incredible heart of being you can see this in people. And so you can empathize with his pain and his trauma and his hurt. And so you're trying to hold that while also making sure your needs and Ava's needs are met too. And it is this constant juggling act. And so it shows who you are, like, purely. You have said multiple times already how much you want to make sure that you're telling this in such a way that really paints him for who he was, but that there is love and there's also grief, And so you do it so well, Heather. But eventually you had to start to choose, like, one way or the other. And so you chose Ava, right? You chose to separate.
It was a little more dramatic than that.
Okay.
I think Chris, more and more of my life, and when I say my life as a whole, who I'm talking to, what I'm talking to them about, where I'm going, how long I'm going, just became, just some of these demons just became bigger and bigger and created this paranoia.
So did outsiders know any of this was going on?
Generally, no. There were only a few people, just based on how our lives were. We worked for the same company for pretty much most of our relationship. A lot didn't know we were married, but a lot did, and almost no one knew we were separated, so it was like a weird thing. While many people knew and loved Chris, I could probably count on one hand the number of people that knew him well enough to call BS on him. Mm-hmm. We had a close mutual friend that at the very end, before any of this happened, she knew, she picked up on his distress. And she was both of our friends, even as we were separated. And I remember having a conversation with her one day. She's like, I love you both so much and I won't pick a side. And I'm like, I know you do. And I love and respect you for that. And I'm like, but I would be okay if you picked his side. Because there's so few people that knew him and could see and feel when something was off with him. And she was one of them. And I wanted that for him really bad. And she never strayed, ever. She's such an amazing human. But I very distinctly remember having that conversation and telling her to pick him.
She saw him too. She saw what you saw.
He had family that loved him dearly, and they still do. But there was a blind spot.
Of course
there is. She saw right through it.
So, you guys were separated for how long?
3 years.
Wow.
And most people didn't know.
How did Ava do with this transition?
It was a little tough at first. I don't think it was ever easy. There were some things that I know she was challenged with. Like Chris and I still spent a lot of time together. Some of that was managing the situation where she couldn't understand, right. And I tried to explain some things to her in a way in which I knew she would understand, but would be respectful of him in their relationship. But I think she understood. And I think she was okay with it because things were actually the most contentious with Chris and I those last 3 years than any point when we were together.
So the night before, you had a conversation with him, right? Mm-hmm. On the phone. Mm-hmm. Was it concerning?
Actually, let me take you back. Probably a few weeks prior to that, I started receiving harassing text messages and phone calls from this mystery number. And I called a friend that supposedly they were tied to and questioned this. I'm like, listen, if you're trying to be funny or if you have something going on in your life, please know I've always been honest with you. I need you to tell me because I don't feel safe. And that friend said, call the police then. So I knew immediately it had nothing to do with that person. Called the police. The police became involved. And it was a really intense day that day when the police came over. It was intense the next day, which I believe was a Thursday, the night before it happened. I just didn't want to be in my house. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel safe. I didn't know what was going on. The police were fantastic. I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, work was intense because my personal life was very disruptive, so I just never felt like I could catch up. And I just called a friend and said, I can't be here. And they said, just come sit. Let's just have pizza and come sit. There were a series of calls and FaceTimes from Chris. Did I know? Did I not know? I don't know. It was par for the course. But what is now public, right? Mm-hmm. So this is how it ends with us. Mm-hmm. I think about those couple of days a lot, especially the night before and the night of. I don't have any regrets. I don't think I did anything. I don't know in hindsight if I would do anything differently. But I don't know if in that moment I knew.
Yeah. I don't know how you would have.
But I feel like that night, though, was one of the nights that I finally said enough is enough. Because normally in a situation like that, regardless of what I was doing or where I was, I would drop everything and go there to try and snuff the fire out. And that night I said no more.
You were regulating him all the time.
Yeah.
And you finally said, I'm not going to do it anymore.
I couldn't.
No, Heather, of course you couldn't. Of course you couldn't. And I don't think for anyone who knows what that feels like can only imagine what that many years of that
Yeah.
intensity was doing to you.
Yeah.
And so you finally stuck up for yourself. And never would you have imagined
The call I got the next day.
who made the phone call.
Every single morning, even after we're separated. Usually by text, because it's a kid in the morning who doesn't want to get ready for school or get up.
I get it, yes.
We would at least text. Sometimes FaceTime, text. Nothing. This is weird. My phone rang, and it was an automated message from the school that Ava had not shown up to school that day. And even in the worst of times for Chris and I, we were always on the same page with Ava. We would always keep each other up to date. How's she feeling? What's going on? She needs this. She needs pencils. Don't forget to pick this up. So there's absolutely no reason that call would have come through. There's no way I wouldn't have known why she wasn't in school.
Where did your head go?
I knew.
You knew.
And so I immediately try and text her. Nothing. Text him. Nothing. Right? You wait for the bubbles. Right?
Yeah.
You wait for the bubbles. Nothing. And I got in my car and drove over. And on my way over, it's like a 5-10 minute drive. I call my brother because he's perhaps the most religious in our family. And I just begged him. I'm like, I need you to pray. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Chris and Ava, I don't know where they are. I need you to pray. He's like, I'm like, I'll call you later. And that's it. And I hung up. And then I called Chris's mom. I'm like, something's really bad. Something's wrong. And she eventually met me at the house. And even in the 3 years we were separated, Chris always wanted me to think of that still as my home. And the first time I went over there after we separated, I knocked on the door to go in, and he was very angry and upset. He's like, you don't knock, this is your home. So every single time I went to that home, his house, after that, I just walked right in. And that day, I couldn't do it. I called 911 from the porch. Wow. Because I knew, even though I didn't know.
You were being protected. Wow.
If I ever listened to my gut about anything, wow, I am grateful that day I did.
So am I. Oh, Heather. Had his mom met you there at that point?
Yeah, so the police came. And I gave them the keys to the house, and they searched outside. They went inside, like, go in your car, because it was like cold and drizzly. She came up while they were in there, comes in my car, asked what's going on. I'm like, I don't know. I gave them the keys for searching the house. And they were in there a long time, or what felt like forever.
And you were by yourself?
With his mom in the car.
Okay.
And I see one of them exit the house, and I'll never forget. I just said, he's got gloves on. He's got gloves on. My mother's like, it didn't register to her. I immediately jump out of my car. And the officer goes up to the window. She was in the passenger seat. Like, they didn't have to say, he came out with blue gloves on. We've all watched TV, right? And they didn't have to tell me, but they did tell her. She's like, what?
It still wasn't comprehending.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I mean, just like her screams and wails that any mother would, you know. Wow. And that was it. Everything changed that day.
Where did you go? Where, like, in your body, in your mind, like, where did you go?
For me, I think it's just my innate nature, just to, like, get down to the brass tacks. And I just started calling people. I hadn't even, like, left the block yet. And I called my boss to tell her I wouldn't be into work today because my daughter just got murdered. And by her father, who also worked with me. My boss probably knew my husband longer than she knew me. Called a few family members. Like, people need to know. Like, they need to not hear it from anybody else but me. And it was just like...
You went into mode, like that mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, okay, if I can compartmentalize and, like, put some things in a box, I can just feel my feels, what I need to know, and later I can fall apart when all of this chaos isn't happening.
Yeah. Was that a conscious choice, or do you just think subconsciously that's the mode you went into?
I don't know. I think I'm wired that way a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would really, really like to not have any more chaos in my life. But when I get stressed or when things start to break down, I'm like, okay, project, something most tangible, right? Like operational and tactical. What can I do right now? Like, I need to do something because I think it gives me an outlet, like a physical outlet to try and fix a situation. And obviously that was a situation that couldn't be fixed.
Right.
But, like, what can I do to make, like, trick my brain into thinking I'm making a difference to make something better?
Yeah, I think that's like a protector part of you. You go into doer.
Mm-hmm.
Did they give you any information when they came out and shared?
They said were both deceased. And I needed no more information. And I told them I don't need to know anything else. I don't want to know what happened. I don't need to know. It doesn't even matter. You don't even need to, like, they didn't tell me, like, murder, suicide, or anything along those lines. To me, it was just innately obvious.
Right.
It wasn't until, like, much later that day, many, many hours later, after the police station, and I'd go back to my house to, like, gather a few belongings before I, like, stayed with family members, that I learned what actually happened. And I was shocked because I of all the ways in my brain, like, I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to know because it really didn't matter. But there's just a human part of you that's like, how or why, or, you know, and I'm like, okay, if that happened, it could have been this or this or this or this or this. And, like, it's just part of routine and police doing their job, right? They had my phone, they wanted to check things on my phone. So I had, like, nothing. Like, I was making phone calls from my watch when I, like, got back to my house. And I just went online, which is probably such a crazy thing. And right now headlines and stories are coming out. And my sister was there with me. It was just her and I in my apartment. And a headline popped up of what had happened and how a gun was the weapon. And I said, Laura, there was a gun. He used a gun. She's like, you didn't know? I said, no, I told him, don't tell me. I'm like, but a gun? I'm like, right? In the police station, they asked me some questions about guns and weapons, and I'm like, absolutely not, right? Because I thought of all the possible, I don't know, not to sound morbid or graphic, but I was shocked to my core.
So he never owned a weapon when you were with him?
No.
Had he had it for a while? Did they?
I later learned it was purchased about 2.5, 3 weeks before that day.
Okay.
And just a series of events, like it all made sense after the fact. And not that I was naive or blind to it necessarily, but there's just some pieces of it that I was just shocked by.
Well, you didn't have all the pieces.
I didn't have all the
So-
pieces, but I think it also speaks to how broken and removed from himself that he was in that. I mean,
Right.
usually, and other people that might speak of experiences or things they've learned, or right, medical professionals will tell you they're just a shell of themselves, if that, when that day or act finally comes. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So you were grieving for the whole world to see. I mean, People magazine, the New York Post, like it was not just local news, it was everywhere. And you're trying to grieve, you're trying to just get through whatever you're trying to each day, right? Like, what was that process like?
I'm grateful that I had a friend that helped me navigate that and probably protected me and my well-being and my mental state quite a bit. Largely, I was really private for a few reasons. One, that's my nature. Also, the state of my marriage and my relationship for many years kind of forced me into kind of more of a private life as well. And then this happened and it's very public. Like I don't know. And I hadn't yet learned when all of this first happened, and then all of the news articles yet, how big of an impact my daughter had, right? And so that was like the secondary wave of it. But I really didn't know what to do or see, or like, did I want to read it? Is it going to be right? What else was I going to learn? Because I didn't ask a lot of questions. I didn't feel like I needed to, but it was also an interesting choice on my part to not ask the questions because I didn't feel like I needed to know, but then to read about it online. It was like, no one did that to me, but I think like it's unbelievable how far the story rippled outside of central New York.
I think it was probably because she was who she was, though, too. That she was that light, she was that heart, she was that soul that you spoke of in the very beginning that touched so many lives. That, I mean, it's a tragic story, right? That would rock any town, any family, but because of who it was, it just touched people at a deeper level, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So there's this wave of grief, which you clearly have to hit when you can, right? Like grief looks so different in each and every one of us. So you're dealing with that, and then you're dealing with the wave of grief of a whole entire community that loved her.
That was, and still is.
Yeah, of course.
The most profound thing I have ever experienced in my life. I didn't even know how far it spread across the world yet. The community arranged a vigil. Still takes my breath away. I could not believe the people that showed up in this church. there's pictures online. And you can see all these pictures and videos online still that circulate. There was not another inch to move in that church. So many people showed up. There were classrooms. There were basements full of people that you never even saw.
She touched so many people.
I showed up for her. No one knew I was even going to be there. No one. They showed up for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that was not expected, was it? Like
so
that.
unexpected.
Is that what just kind of knocked you down in ways?
Yeah, it's almost like, who is this kid?
Right.
It was the most humbling moment of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was love.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
The loss of her has created this movement in you.
Yeah.
Like, and not just a brand, not just a saying, which we will get to, but it is like literally a movement, Heather.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about sort of this brand that's taking shape. I'll let you tell the story.
Sure.
And how this is literally the Ava that you just described to us.
Yeah. I was so blessed and fortunate when, after she passed, there was so much love and support. And not just for me, but strangers loving and supporting other strangers and creating spaces for people that needed extra love and support, right? And people needed an outlet. And I got to sit back and watch and support all of these beautiful memorials and tributes and lanterns being lit into like a snowy night sky. It was so beautiful. And friends that created this beautiful color run in her honor because she was big and bold and colorful. And there's all of these things and events and feelings and this need for connection and to celebrate who she was and what she brought into people's lives. And as each of these events would happen, I would share and publicize, and, you know, so people knew where these outlets were, that they, you know, had a place to be or a place to feel. And often as I would share some of these things online, I would get people from across the country, sometimes across the world, and say, hey, can I get a t-shirt from this event? Or can I get this? And well, it wasn't my event. I mean, I was there, I was supporting it, you know, and I'm sure in some ways it was to support me and my, you know, the love. But I started to recognize that there was something bigger, and it's happening in all of these little pockets, like something, right? Who was she? How did she live? What did she do? Why did these people want to connect? And over the course of probably the following year and a half after she passed, I knew there was something. I didn't know if it was a book, if it was a podcast, if it was, I'd create an event. I didn't know what it was. And as I would drive around in my car, I would send myself a message, right? Dear Suri, can you write this down? Write this note for me. Write this down. This might be a book chapter title. This might be a book title. This might be, hey, don't forget about this. What if? And I kept writing down phrases and words and paragraphs, sometimes at home, but a lot of times while I was driving, and I would circle back around to them. And one day, and I don't remember how it came about through a series of songs and music and podcasts I was listening to. Stupendous Love just popped into my head. I'm like, man, that just sounds so right. But maybe it's not, because I've written 100 other versions of something here, and it wouldn't go away. And so all of these little things that people created were the brainchild behind Stupendous Love. And I think why Stupendous Love just stood out amongst everything else and wouldn't go away, I couldn't quit it, right, is because she was so unique and so authentically herself that you couldn't just say big love. Or was it love, right? It was definitely love in so many ways, but it was something that was different, but it was also something that was really big, and stupendous was the only way to describe it. But it was always love, fun love, or deep heartbreaking love, or just everlasting, long, like love of life, all of the things. And so with this new company and this movement, completely inspired by her life and the legacy she's left behind, I want people to know, right, we can all live like her, even though she's not here. She laid the groundwork and the foundation. And so the mantra behind Stupendous Love is live boldly and love stupendously. And I think that's something that's really easy, but not easy at the same time, but just so simple, right? Don't take your life for granted, or the simple things. Like, you can live boldly even in the most meager of means, or regardless of the scale of your struggle, or regardless of the scale of your success. There is a very human place there in the middle for everyone to live boldly and love stupendously, being authentic and unconditional.
Your message just takes my breath away, because it is perfect. It's perfect. The wording and the way you describe it, and the life behind it, and the love, and you have taken some of this grief, a piece of this grief, and put it into this beautiful movement that's going to change so many lives, and already has changed so many lives. And it allows you to keep her legacy moving forward, and not just her legacy, but the energy of who Ava was.
She was energy.
The love that Ava was. So just even how you speak about it, Heather, you light up, like it comes right through you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her gift to me, I think.
It's so beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
I think there's a lot of people that can't fathom the loss that you've endured. Like, can't even begin to put themselves there. Nor can they put themselves in the place of, how do you heal from something like that? Yet, you're not the same Heather you were before.
No.
I can imagine this ripped you open in many, many ways. And the gift you are now bringing into the community and into the world, and she's living through you. I mean, it's so beautiful to watch.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I imagine that there's still a lot of messy middle, like you say.
Yeah. I think that when I speak to people one-on-one or in small groups, in a few of the larger forums I've had, I really try and make sure I share that, right? This live boldly and love stupendously, easy and simple, but also feels very impossible, I'm sure, because, right, where we started today, life and obligations and kids and expectations and hopes and dreams, right? Things like living boldly and loving stupendously probably feels pretty hard, but we all share this messy middle, and I try and make sure I share that. Most of our life is in the messy middle, but that doesn't mean the messy middle is a bad thing. Like, some difficulties happen there. Some real things will trip us up in life there, but also some of the most beautiful things will happen there in the most ordinary moments, right? I think everyone probably remembers some conversation they had with someone at dinner or driving in the car with their kids.
So being in the messy middle, there are days that might be brighter, and then there are days that grief really takes over, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, it's balancing the two. It's holding both of them.
Yeah, and respecting both of them. Like, you can't just say, like, try and hide from the bad days, because like sugar and salt, right? When you make cookies, you need a little bit of salt for those cookies that are sweet. And it's one of those things that if you don't understand and respect, whether you want to feel mad or angry or sad or depressed, like, give it a minute, sit in it, because you need to feel and understand your own emotions. You need to know what sets you on fire in the good ways and the bad ways, right? And recognize those things. But ultimately, giving space for all of your feelings, including the ones that feel hard and heavy, will make those good days better. And you'll also appreciate them and the little things 10 times more. And I think when you learn to appreciate the simple things, it's obviously easy to appreciate and love all the big, great things, right? The big accomplishments and the promotions and the trips and the big life events, and not to take anything away from that. But the core of our life is in that middle, ordinary, messy part. And when you can appreciate it in the little things that happen, I think it's just so much more extraordinary and full and joyful of a life. You can do that. And
yes,
I would like to be here for a long time, even if it means I'm here for a long time without Ava. But I want to enjoy it, whatever that means, appreciate it for all that it is. And what a miserable life it will be if I get to live a long life and I can't understand that, and I can't comprehend it, and I can't live intentionally that way.
Yeah. It's the darkness and the light, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
It is, yes, it is. You said that so beautiful. And it's the moments of, I remember after my niece Hazel passed, I remember the sunsets like sticking out in a way that I had never noticed them before. And I was like, how have I never really like looked at a sunset like this before? But it was like, it stopped me in my tracks. Like, it just like took my breath away. And it's like the beauty in the everyday things like gets so much bigger, so much brighter. And it's like you have to experience this level of pain and like sit with it. Like you said, not numb out, not distract, not avoid.
Yeah.
Sit in that to be able to see this, like, I don't even know if there's words to like the beauty and the love and the joy. And so, yes, you said that so beautifully. So the brand, which is so beautifully done, by the way. I wear my sweatshirt like all the time. I actually should have it on right now. You have a few events coming up, correct? This is evolving as we go,
it's
right?
It's evolving as we go and growing a little bit every day. Again, I kind of didn't know what it was going to be, or that it would be Stupendous Love and what it would turn into. And so it will grow and evolve over time. I've had a career for many years, and I needed to honor and respect it. So kind of set it up in a way in which both could exist. But as it stands today, right, there's events in apparel. And apparel seems like a very...
it's
a
super,
very like corporate thing
cool.
to have.
Apparel, wow.
But Ava was all about like a good cozy sweatshirt and her t-shirts and all of those things. But I have also found I've learned through some of these events and the outreach and the way people have connected, right? Sometimes the way you feel your feelings is like that cozy, like something, or like, this is my favorite shirt and it's ripped and tattered, right? We all have that thing, or we hear, right? In every TV movie, oh, my shirt smells like him, or right, those things. I think that there's something very personal to people with the apparel, and that's why that's there. Events, so people can, right, we all have different senses that touch our heads, our hearts, our emotions, right? So for some, it will be something cozy that they can wear and not have to talk about anything. They can literally feel their feelings, right? Events, they can participate. Some will be partnerships with nonprofits. Some will be, we have a race coming up that a family created from the ground up, and I'll be taking it over under Stupendous Love, but a dear family created that was close to Ava because it really honored her in a beautiful way. There's keynote speaking and group sessions, and who knows what that turns into? Maybe a podcast.
Maybe.
Who knows? But some of the speaking engagements that way, and a little blog and a newsletter here or there. So it's a mixed bag of things to try and touch all of the points that have seemingly resonated with people the most, and have been most impactful to people since they've passed. So we're going to ebb and flow with that a little bit and see what feels right, and to be as many of all the things as I can be for whomever needs it.
Well, your intuition is loud, and you're clearly, when it's talking to you, and what the next step is.
Yeah.
And when that next step is ready to happen, it'll come to you. Yeah. So it's unfolding exactly how I think it's supposed to.
And I'm at peace with it, right? I'm okay with it. I have some plans for where I would love to see it grow, but I'm okay pivoting or pausing. But really, this is such a special period, right? It's still new. It's a little baby in its infancy, and I'm really proud of just these few months. And if this was it, I'll take it and run with it. I love it. It's been a great experience.
That's incredible.
Thanks.
So what is, as we close, what is one thing that you would like to leave with the community?
One thing I'd like to leave. I think this isn't the thing I'll leave, but I will start with this.
Okay.
First, my sincere thanks.
Oh, you got to me before I was going to get to you.
This community has been here for me and have honored my daughter in ways I could never fathom. It's a really special place, this community. And they've given me the courage to live my life bigger and to give back. I think the one thing I'd want to leave, just don't change your life, but maybe look at it through a simpler lens. Appreciate the little things. And I think that love stupendously is really as simple as pay it forward. If someone pays you a compliment somebody else. Someone drops something on the floor, pick it up for them. Just be a kind human. There's so many big, bold things about Ava and how she lived her life and how she was known. There are 1,000 private moments and private stories that people have reached out to me about since she passed. That's the kind of human I want to be. I want to pick up where she left off. I want to live the life that I was trying to help her build on her own, and be that example for her if she was still here, and for everybody else. Be a good human. Love the things you have and the people who you're with. Give back. It's so small, but it's so meaningful.
And I'm going to remind you that a lot of those qualities you modeled for her, which is why she became the individual she became. So you had a big part in the bold love that Ava was in this community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am beyond grateful that you trusted me today with sitting here and hearing more of your story. And as you continue to live boldly and bravely and speak more, and your voice is so powerful, your story is so powerful, your knowledge is so powerful, and I am so grateful that I could hold the space for you today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right, and we will watch you. I will tag all of your accounts below so people can support and cheer you on and follow as we continue to see what you do.
Perfect. Thank you, Tracy.